You're listening to Edging the Truth.
Welcome to another episode of Edging the Truth, a podcast where we take you to the edge of the truth, but no further. Maybe a little further sometimes. I don't know. It happens. Sometimes we go over the edge. But today we are talking flat Earth in this episode, which is, I would say, one of the older conspiracy theories kind of out there. Especially because hundreds of years, people believe this, like legit believe this. So it's like there is history to this conspiracy. So I mean, fellas, I don't think I need to go too much deeper into flat Earth as a conspiracy because it's in the name, flat Earth. So
this doesn't need an explanation.
we'll get into the beliefs of it, but I think let me just throw to you guys first. So with me as always, we got Red Raspis up top here, aka Dave. We got Andy, aka Big Fudge, up here on this side. Actually, I pointed one of those two. I pointed right, so that's good. Fellas, let me start with you, Andy. What are your flat Earth experiences, and have you met a flat earther?
I don't know if I've met a flat earther, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I probably have, but I'd say my experience. I feel like I went viral on Twitter a couple years ago, and then fucking Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, said he believed in it, and it went viral. And I believe, is Kanye a flat earther too, or Alex Jones?
If you told me Kanye was a flat earther, I'd believe it.
I'd
100%
believe it. So just the dingbats. So you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's really my experience, is just seeing dumb memes on the internet, and then hearing woke people talk about it.
Yeah, dumb memes and merch. That seems to be a staple of flat Earth theory. Red, what about you? Have you met a flat Earther?
I mean, I do hope that wokeness and flat Earth belief don't go hand in hand.
Well, we'll tell you what goes hand in hand with that in a segment later. But yes, but it's not wokeness. That's for sure.
I do. Yeah, I think for I think most of us, at least for me, flat Earth was a concept that was really just explained as part of I think like elementary school science class, where you learn about spheres. And at one point in time, everybody believed that the Earth was flat. And then they figured out blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm always amazed that now that we have so many photos from space, including the famous Carl Sagan, the Great Blue Dot photo, it's pretty obvious it's not.
Yeah. Bro, let me tell you, I have met more than one flat earther. All right? Like, when I was in college, there was a dude, and I'm like, you're in college, bro. How can you believe the Earth is flat?
Yeah.
But we actually have a comic here in Vegas that truly believes the Earth is flat. And this man goes on stage and discusses it. And I thought it was like a bit, like he was putting it on. But then when you talk to that dude off stage, you're like, oh, no, this guy is really fucking crazy. Like, he is a full belief of it. And it's like, yeah, he's always crazy on stage. And like, oh, now this, once you say I'm a flat earther, all that other crazy made sense.
Well,
so.
It's funny because one of the things that I was fascinated by is the effort taken to make maps and things like this and explain it. I found this one old map from 100 years ago. Look at this thing. This is supposedly the way that the square and stationary Earth functions. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful map. I'm not gonna lie. Wouldn't we all drown if it rained? It's just a giant bowl, and we're in the bottom of it.
Yeah. So that's we know we hit the edge because we hit the hill in the ocean.
Yeah.
Remember the ocean hills that we grew up knowing about as children?
You just sail off the edge.
Well, Red, I think that actually brings us into our first segment nicely. Which is the subsections of flat earthers, which are the people who think the Earth is flat And other than that, does everything else rotates around the sun, the moon rotates, like that's that sect of flat earth. But then there's the stationary and flat earthers, where they believe that we're the center of the universe and that everything else rotates around us. And I think that that kind of map that you just put up, Red, is the rotate around us flat earthers. Guys,
Yes.
is it? Let me throw it to you first here, Red. Is it possible to have a subsection of crazy? Crazy is another subsection.
I mean, I feel like if in this particular case, it's a subsection of crazy that actually believes in the real physics of planetary orbits and things like that. Except for the shape of our planet, they believe in all the other stuff. So I feel like those people maybe could use a little help getting to the proper side, the way of thinking. The general flat earthers that think we're and the ones that think we are the center of the universe, I feel like we could get you some schooling.
Fudge, what do you think about that? What's your thoughts?
Brian, what goes on in my...
Is this where you tell us that you're really a flat earther?
Yeah. I've been to the ice wall, bro. I've seen things, man. I don't know, dude. This is very much it's very out there, but it is, to answer your question, yes, there can absolutely be different subsections of crazy, because I feel like, this is the 41st episode of this show. We've gone through a lot of these theories that have different subsections and different theories that break off of them. There's a lot of crazy out there. So 100%. Yeah.
Well, and my opinion on this thing too is that like the flat earthers, the non-stationary flat earthers, the one that believe that everything else is fine except for the earth is flat. And it's like, so I feel like they've at least accepted some science, or that they just accepted enough so that people be like, all right, he thinks it's flat, but everything else is right. He's like 95% there. I mean, I don't know. It's
because we're special.
not the good kind of special. The somebody has to cut your meat special. Okay.
Like, I feel like that's at least a thinking person that just didn't get all the way through the thinking part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they thought it through. They went through the processes of like, does A equal B, and on down the line, and all the boxes checked, and then at some point they just went, yeah, but, and then stopped doing the math. Whereas the people that are like, it's just flat and we're the center of everything, I feel like they've never bothered to do the thinking part at all.
No. Yeah, I concur.
Like it's 80% thinking versus 0% thinking.
At least we're establishing there is some thinking there. That's I think that's the whole thing. I feel like, you know, they say like X amount of the population has no like inner monologue, so they like can't think in their head, they can only think out loud. I feel like that's a lot of the flat earth people.
Ooh,
I feel like that's where they're, but they haven't talked it out enough. But I think that brings us like right nicely into this next little segment, where a lot of people, either way of these beliefs, believe that the earth is like the Truman Show. Like that, remember that Jim Carrey movie where he was like the big reality show and he lived in a dome and all that stuff and he couldn't go to the end. That's what a lot of people think that the flat earth is, that we're just in a giant dome and we're floating along through space. But then this is also these same people where it starts to breed into our other conspiracy theories. Like where people believe that, well, all right, well, below the flat, there's a hanging, that's your hanging city, your subterranean, that's where your Illuminati, your lizard people, your assorted whatnots are all down there below the sphere. And they're the ones that are controlling the Truman Show as it is. That's the control room for the terrarium that we all live in. Mm-hmm. Fudge, do you feel like we're living in a terrarium?
We're in a terrarium. It's a simulation. Just the lizard people are controlling all of us right now. They wrote the script for this show, set up all the equipment. They caused Red's technical issues earlier just to be pests.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no.
You don't believe that someone is watching you now, even though someone is, I guess, technically
We
watching
are.
you. But
Someone's watching me for sure.
But I don't think we're necessarily an alien reality show. I'll at least go with that much.
I don't know.
Red, what do you think? The lizard people, are we in the lizard? Are we living that life? Are we about that Illuminati living below us as the Chud people?
I don't think so. I mean, it's funny because we make these cover images for the episodes every week, and when you look up images of flat Earth, it's tough. Sometimes you find things like those old maps, but more often than not, you see an image that looks like what you're describing, sort of a substrate that has a dome here and stuff down here. Which, I'm sorry, that doesn't make it flat.
That's technically not flat. All right, I didn't want to get to that yet, but yes, that's technically not flat.
I guess it's flat on the top, but
we know it's not because it's not plains out here. We got mountains. That ain't flat.
Well, right, yeah.
If it's a dome, also not flat.
And I guess the real question for me is, if the Earth has always been this way, if the Earth has been this way for thousands of years, who built it? The technology wasn't there 2,000 years ago to do what people are describing in terms of a surveillance society. So how did this all come about, supposedly? And who built it? And who's the ones doing the viewing if it's, pre-America, for example?
Well, also, we've been, like, a lot of these people also acknowledge that we've been to space and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, but, they don't think that, they think a lot of that's, but it's like you're telling me that we couldn't fly a rocket down and around the corner and see the bottom.
How
Like,
about
we couldn't flip a Yui and see.
Some base jumping.
Like, yes, there. I mean, by this point, someone would have got to the edge. I mean, that's really it.
Yeah,
that's really.
I mean, there's way too much evidence. I mean, yes, there's way too much evidence to dispute this as a legitimate idea. I do love exploring the concept of what it would be like if it were true. That person that does take a plane and flies off the edge, or a boat that literally just goes off a cliff like it's hitting a waterfall or whatever. But,
Yeah. I mean, where's our edge of the Bermuda Triangle where all these boats disappear to,
It's a hole in the flat. They just dropped right straight through.
It's a hole.
And they disappeared to nowhere.
They dropped through our space holes. They're in space. We've just left this trail of ships floating through space over like 400 years of human travel.
But it's on the dark side, so we don't ever see it, right?
Literal spaceships, yes. Well, actually, that actually puts us perfectly into the next section that we're going to talk about. So, one of these flat earthers, one of like the more famous ones, he was like, fine, I have to see it for myself, so he built his own homemade rocket, launched himself into space, and surprisingly died
yes,
trying to launch himself.
I remember this guy
into space. So, Red, I mean, let's start with you, man.
This wasn't that long ago, right? This was in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, no, yeah, very, very recent. It's like, I mean, I give it up to the guy that he was trying. I mean, like, he actually wanted a quest for the truth. He actually wanted to prove to the other community of flat earthers that this, he still believed it, but he's like, let me see for myself. I mean, what are your thoughts on this guy, Red?
I mean, I do remember when this happened, and I thought, more power to him for standing by his convictions and all that stuff. Hey, how many flat earthers have never bothered to, follow the exercise of figuring this out? But
look at another video, yeah.
But this guy was a piece of work. The fact that you would go to all of these lengths and just go, yeah, I don't trust any space mission that has ever happened. I have to do it for myself. I don't trust the Russians. I don't trust the Chinese. I don't trust American government. I don't trust none of them people. I'm going to make my own in my backyard, and it's going to prove to everybody. No, I'm sorry.
I think
Fudge,
didn't
Fudge,
they?
you got a lot of rocketry up there in Chicago?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a rocket man.
With so much
Didn't
sincerity.
didn't they make a documentary about this guy? I feel like I watched.
I don't know. I feel like somebody should, like, they had to have documented this somehow.
I feel like
You know, like,
I have the yawns. I can't get rid of them.
I
Nah,
mean, it
'cause
was
this-
in the news.
I just feel like I saw a video of this dude, and the rocket was like, you could just tell that shit was about to explode. There was just no way.
like, yeah,
That it
I
was
looked at
gonna
the
work.
video, like, you could see it on the pad. You're like, is that a washing machine? You're like, no, that's not good. Like, I mean, my biggest hope for this dude was that, like, that in his final moments, that he got just up enough in space before it blew up to go, oh, it wasn't. It's round. Okay,
There is a
like,
movie.
I'm hoping he at least had that revelation. What's the movie called, Red? Let's plug the movie.
Oh, it's already been plugged. It's called Rocket Man.
Elton John gonna sue somebody.
Came out in 2019. It's on Netflix. You can watch it. Yes, it is a behind the scenes documentary about this man's attempt to prove the Earth is flat.
Oh, no,
I guess
kinda
we should have
wish I'd
watched this for the podcast. I'll tell you what, though. I don't need to watch it to know what the answer is.
I think I watched it. I think I watched it a while when
It was a long
came
pandemic,
out.
man. It was 2019. I'm sure you probably watched it. That was a Tiger King ago. Okay,
Yes,
like, that was a
yes.
it was a Carol Baskin ago that movie came out. And yeah, I mean, but it's just I mean, like I said, good on the dude for actually, like, fine. I don't want to believe science. I don't want to believe anybody else. The trolls, the internet, whatever. At least his crazy led him to, like, I got to see for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they were documenting it, so I feel like if he had lived, that might have been a big, at least peeled some people off of the flat Earth movement.
Yeah, do we think
if
that
this
he would
guy
have
who was,
he would have converted?
he was running meetings, he was organizing stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like if the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan was all of a sudden like, guys, these minorities, they're good people. Like, we should change this around. Like, it's, it's like that's kind of the analogy of it. And I think that so maybe that's the other conspiracy, is the other flat earthers sabotaged him.
They had
to
him
preserve
killed.
The movement.
Yes, to preserve the
saying.
truth.
I'm just
Or
saying.
the fabricated
He
truth.
knew too much. I'd like to think while he was up there, before everything went south, he kind of looked down, realized he was wrong, and just had a very much like an oh shit moment, like an you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yep.
And
like
then,
it was like my whole life was a waste. Then
boom.
Well, it's either that or it's like, well, it looks flat from up here.
Yeah.
I knew I was right. I can't wait to tell
mean-
it. I knew I was right. I can't wait to tell everybody. Bam.
I'm up 400 feet. I don't know why they don't. It's definitely flat from here.
Mm-hmm. And look, didn't Elon go to space? Haven't we already had our Bransons, our billionaires, go to space?
Oh, yeah.
They would have, somebody would have spilled the beans on that if they were like, "Hey, it's flat. The NASA was lying." I'm like, come on. But
yeah, but the
they
reality is
know.
this all predates any kind of government agencies being involved. Like, this is before we were even a country, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh
they
yeah, I mean,
figured this shit
flat
out.
Earth is caveman times. That goes like we're deep in like the Greeks and Copernicuses and
Deep
whatnot.
in
Like,
the
Yeah, I mean,
these-
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the Galileo,
Yeah.
Copernicus, Kepler, all of those guys getting talked about in junior high or whatever is when you learn that people knew this 500 years ago or whatever, 600 years ago.
No, you
No
learn it
way.
in fucking kindergarten, first grade, when the teacher makes you get a bunch of styrofoam balls out and put them on hangers and fucking hang them around a big ball in the middle.
That too. I mean,
like-
I don't know about you guys. Did you guys grow up in a house? We had a globe in our house,
Yeah.
a small one, but it was great as a for elementary school and stuff. And it was, you see a globe and you go, that's a planet. How many I mean, I saw Star Wars in the theater. I'd seen planets. They looked pretty round. Like there was no doubt in my mind. And maybe that's why I'm not a believer in flat Earth. You know.
Wouldn't it be so great if Star Wars, all the planets were flat, and it was just they went to every
pancake
place,
planets,
and they were just all flat, like throughout. It's like, see, all the Earths are flat, all the worlds are flat out there, like, oh, flat Earther stuff. But so that brings us to the next segment, you guys, which I really think like is the essence of our podcast. You know, like if you believe in flat Earth conspiracies, you believe in everything. Like, there is not a flat Earth person that doesn't literally believe in you like this, and that's not where they stop. They believe in lizard people. They believe in all the other conspiracies. Like, Fudge, like let me throw it over to you here first on this one. Like, I mean, is this or is this not the essence of our podcast? Because we just like it's always crazy breeds crazy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I guess, it's just one domino after the other, and especially with everything, the way this theory is set up, it's like, well, yeah, I guess it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, because this leads right into like aliens. Because like if you believe in the whole they built the dome and stuff, well then aliens must have built this flat place for us.
Yeah.
It leads into lizard men because of the underground stuff. It also leads into Illuminati because somebody's got to control the whole thing. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like because this is also something too that I wanted to cover. I guess I should have got it to a little earlier, but like. Modern flat Earth is predominantly kind of driven by media, driven by YouTube and the YouTube stuff. And it's driven because these videos get a lot of stuff, and YouTube for years before they stopped now apparently, but for years prioritized to keep putting this in front of you. It's your algorithm. When you click on something, it sends you down that rabbit hole of all the similar content. So it's like, yeah, when you go down this rabbit hole of flat Earth, the videos it keeps recommending in your algorithm will send you way, way down other holes. Red, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, and to continue with that,
Gross, Brian.
Fudge, I got that. I got that down the holes. We like to go down holes here at the podcast.
Fucking gross.
I mean, I do think that it's like you said, the fact that there's so much crazy and flat Earth seems to sort of encompass so much of it. But it, talking a little bit about the YouTube issue, we've run into this, getting episodes of our podcast, propagated to more people. YouTube now will flag certain things that it thinks are either misinformation or conspiracy theory or conjecture or things like that. We've had multiple episodes. I believe the wildfire conspiracy was maybe one. I think the Malaysian air flight is another one where it now will automatically put a encyclopedia article before your video description, so that when people click on your video, the first thing they might read is factual.
Yeah.
Looks like we're gonna have to go over to Kick, boys. They don't give a fuck.
I mean,
we're gonna do this show in a hot tub. That's what I'm
so
saying.
at the very least, and this actually this discussion ties into what you and I talked about last episode, Brian, in our last two steps, is that now that YouTube has cracked down on this sort of stuff, X, formerly known as Twitter, is the place for this. If you really want to grow a conspiracy theory, hint, hint, go to X.
Yeah. They'll get that shit trending. They'll recommend that. They'll put that in the thing. I mean, that's why he wanted to take the block feature off, so that you're forced to get everybody's content, that you can't block the crazy, which luckily, Microsoft or iPhone terms of service said, nope, you can't do that. If you want to do that, you can't have your app on our platform, because people have to be able to block hate and stuff they don't want. You can't just let a fire hose shoot at people.
Yeah.
So yeah, but man, and this like flat Earth it's the I mean, like I said, it's the original conspiracy theory. It's number one. I feel like if you really want to go back to like the dawn of time, like that's since day one through so much of human history. It's the flat earthers also surprisingly a lot of flat earthers are conservative Christians.
Yeah.
So a lot of this, which is weird, because a lot of it dovetails into the Bible, and I guess it's also true that the Bible takes place pretty much 100% in like a certain area of the planet, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Jesus never went on the road to England or China or anything like that.
Au contraire. There are believers in that too.
Oh, well, I guess that's the Book of Mormon, because didn't Jesus come to America or something?
Well, that's a whole different one. That's the big one. But there's all the ones in between where Jesus was like a Johnny Appleseed and came to America, and there's all kinds of interesting theories about that.
But Fudge, like, what do you? I mean, like, this was a little surprising to me. Flat Earth and religion going hand in hand. I mean, like,
I don't know.
That's crazy.
So is religion.
All right, you're right.
All
right, touche. Okay.
Yeah. Well, especially
so are most of those kooky motherfuckers.
Kooky.
So it's not surprising to me at all.
No, I think I see why they would believe it, and honestly, that kind of it leads into part A of our next, the sense of community that these people have. Before the internet, you were isolated. You could maybe find a local group. Somebody posted an ad in a paper or a magazine or something like that, where somebody could see some group, and you could, see a flyer up at the local Y or something, where you're like, oh, a group of people, let's go. It's like that old Saturday Night Live sketch where there was like the fans of Mr. Belvedere. It's like people just kind of find each other, and it's like, yes, there was, there's 6 or 7 people in the meeting, and that's how it used to be. But now I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, the Flat Earth convention they had in Colorado, I think it said they had 800 people show up for that. And I mean, that's a hell of a room.
That's a small theater.
They had to pay like $250 to get in too, I think.
Jesus
wow.
Christ.
Let me see.
Well, I wanted to ask Brian. Maybe you can confirm my memory on this. But as I recall, part of the whole business with those scientists, those Renaissance or whatever era scientists, Galileo, Copernicus, etc., the church was in power in those places, and they were the ones. I should say the Catholic Church at that time. They were the ones that were very much actively suppressing the move away from Earth as the center. And I think this is the other thing. That was about Earth being the center, as opposed to whether we're round or not. It was the makeup of our solar system, and putting Earth at the center meant that we were the center of everything. And I know that, at least in my memory, my junior high history memory, that was kind of the reason that those guys were sort of tamped down with their research, right?
Because that's the whole thing. God created man, and everything that God created is for man. Therefore, we're at the center of the universe, the stars, all that stuff.
Everything
He made that all
serves
for
us.
us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all for us to be served. That's why we're in the middle. So,
Yeah.
Fudge, did you find out what's
I didn't see anything in Colorado, but I did see November 2017, more than 500 people paid as much as $249 each to attend the first ever Flat Earth conference in a suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina. According to a 2018,
was Cannoli there?
Probably.
Fucking loser. According to a 2018 YouGov,
Nobody on the podcast knows who Cannoli is. We're throwing that out there.
How about this?
Inside.
According to a 2018 YouGov opinion poll, just 66% of millennials firmly believe that the Earth is round, with celebrities, rappers, B.O.B., basketball players, Kyrie Irving, Wilson Chandler, and Draymond Green advocating for flatness.
Flatness.
Advocating for it.
See,
We should make it that way. I think it's time for a multi-trillion-dollar construction project to renovate the Earth into a flat structure.
It's an influencer for everything, guys. But I mean, and so this next piece that I'm going to bring to your attention is widely known and makes me is like from this alone, I would not tell people I was a flat earther. Okay, so the predominant amount of people who are flat earthers apparently also Nazis.
Oh,
Like,
like
Where's that
racist
research from?
or Nazis?
like actual Nazis. But that's actually, they're actual, like, apparently, if you, like, a lot of the Nazis, apparently, I guess classically, I didn't know this, were a flat earthing folk.
Flat Earth.
But apparently, as a modern thing, yeah, flat Earth equals Nazis.
So, guess not the master race. That's so smart, those guys.
I mean, so I guess when you do meth all day, yeah, you come up with some wacky ideas.
Yeah, some wild shit.
But flat Earth Nazis. But I mean, it's fellas, unless you have any other revelations you want to weigh in on flat Earth Nazis.
Just glad I'm not a flat earther. Can
think-
you imagine being a flat earther that's not a Nazi at this
Well,
point
you
in
show up
time?
to the meeting
Like,
and the
you
guy's
are
got
really a
something
minority.
awesome.
Like, at that
Oh,
point, like,
no.
hey man, I just wanted to come and talk about planets. You're in you guys, you got a whole other agenda going on. I'm not real hip to.
It's like, oh, am I in the wrong meeting?
No, not at all.
Why are you guys
No,
all dressed
come
like the
in.
Pope?
Come in, please. Look, get an armbands. They're
Please,
good. It's
come
just
on.
this is a misunderstood symbol.
Yeah, that's I did not know that, and I am even more
Yeah.
happy to know that, because the minute somebody starts talking about the flat Earth to me, that's gonna raise an extra red flag now.
Yeah. So far, our flat Earth groups are predominantly conservative, Christian, Nazis.
Nazis.
I mean,
I guess I want to know, like, did they just take a survey and just a bunch of people around there were like, oh,
just
flat Earth?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it was just. I read this
fuck,
in more than
Nazi,
one of the
yeah.
articles. I read this in more than one of the articles that we did. It's just one of those things that it's just. It I don't know. Flat Earth fits with the Nazi ideology or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's one I don't understand.
Well,
particularly.
but I think that brings us into the good final segue into the final segment here, which is these conspiracy theories have been boosted for money. That is the predominantly driving force that has driven Flat Earth to be a modern conspiracy, is that there's money to be made. Money from clicks, money from books, money from the t-shirts, the merch, all the bullshit that goes along with it, the bumper stickers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fudge, you want to spend some money on Flat Earth, or you want to make some money on Flat Earth?
I don't know. I think we all join the Flat Earth Society and just kind of go like little recon, some black ops, and kind of see what it's all about.
We start our own society and we collect the membership dues.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah,
But no, so
National
then we're gonna have
Flat
to
Earth
send
Council.
somebody in as a double agent to start pulling people into our newer, cooler society.
no, we just gotta go start filming in caves and and just be like, guys, we found the underground. We're trying to find the lizard people.
We're digging.
We send more money. The expedition cannot go deeper without more funds.
Have we seen any statistics about the amount of flat earthers that are currently living in Kansas? Because that is one of the flattest places on earth. So it could just be they've
Oklahoma.
never left the state.
They've never seen anything but flat fields.
Yeah.
I can see.
That
Those
reminds
people
me.
never go more than 50 miles from their house, so I can see that.
Is this largely an American belief too? I mean, if we're talking about Nazis,
Looks like there's a lot of people in the UK that believe it too.
There is a lot of global. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
it doesn't really hit your Africa or your Asia, just because I feel like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's flat earthers in those places. Just from the law of averages, billions of people, there's got to be some flat nuts in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's predominantly a Western thing. But like I said, also goes to the Bible, where they don't know any of that in the Eastern countries, because all of that originated in one part of the Western world.
Yeah.
And that's what's been spread out for all this time. So
And
it's
also
even our
only-
history is not acknowledged here with the Indians. We're still living in that Euro history ourselves.
Yeah, when you think about the history of Japan, I mean, we think about a lot further ago than 2,000 years. Christianity has existed for 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't blame
with
them
China.
for going, hey, we've maybe thought about this a little longer than you guys as a society.
Yeah, we have our own views we developed over here during the Ming Dynasty,
And we also don't raise any children to believe otherwise.
Yeah.
We don't let the seed get planted.
Fellas, all I'm saying is we need to start our sphere conspiracy, start a
Yes.
group around it, charge dues, get membership fees. We're doing this all wrong. We're over here trying to make a podcast and actually inform people, when we should just be over here trying to scam people. So,
I'm all for a good conspiracy theory about
A
the
good
sphere.
conspiracy
I do
scam.
like the idea that it's a beacon, an alien beacon. I like the idea that now
They're
there's
using-
a guy
Yeah.
that's got an art installation this week using AI data to make the imagery and stuff. Again, not AI pictures, AI statistics and numbers to calculate and make fractals and all kinds of weird shit. I love the idea of it.
They're using it to brainwash people to get the COVID-19 vaccine.
It ain't working.
yes, they're using it to hypnotize the city of Las Vegas into liking F1 racing.
Yeah.
That's
Even though
it.
It is what is
Yes.
destroying our fucking town right now, and making it so I can't drive anywhere because of stupid traffic for fucking F1 racing.
Well, all we got to do is trace the money, right? Like, it's MSG. Doesn't MSG own the sphere?
Yeah, it's James
Yeah.
Dolan,
So this
the owner of the
all
Knicks.
goes back to the New York Knicks.
Mhm.
Yep. And also, for some reason, MSG the Spice. MSG the
And all
Spice has something to do with this. So, remember, it's good for cooking. It's a secret salt.
It's
That's what you
flavor.
need. But, guys. I think we've gone as deep and as hard on Flat Earth as we want to or should go.
I learned
just
something.
Just know, fellas, if you do not believe in Flat Earth, let's just raise our hands right now. You do not believe in
I
the
do
Flat
not.
Earth.
I do
Fudge,
not.
You were so slow on that.
I
hand.
know you were really slow, Fudge. I had
see
me
even
worried.
Bruce down there waving his tail. I can see him too. He knows,
Yeah,
even
Bruce
he's
like,
not in on
I
this.
got it.
He's like, he don't believe in Flat Earth either. And when your dog doesn't believe in Flat Earth, well, come on. Christian,
Yes.
conservative Nazis, get it together, okay? Get it together. So, Fudge, where can the people get to us for all of our stuffs?
So we are on all.
That's enough. That's all you gotta say.
that's all we
Erware.
got. We're Erware. We are Erware at Edging the Truth. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. EdgingTheTruth.com for all of your podcast needs. We've got merch on there. We have all of our episodes. We got little bios for everybody involved in the podcast. If you like this, if you like the show, best way to support is buying some merch. Please call the voicemail line 917-979-6071. Tell us what you think about the flat earth. Are you a believer? Is there another conspiracy that you want to hear us talk about? Anything. We'd love to hear from you. Please like this video if you're watching us on wherever you're watching us. I mean, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're listening, leave us a rating, leave us a review. Tell a friend who tells a friend. We really appreciate it. Follow us, and we'll see you next week.
That's right, fellas. That's been another great episode of Edging the Truth, and we are out.
Visit edgingthetruth.com for more information and links to all our social media and podcast directories.